Hello everyone, and welcome back to my series of What Makes a Good Movie. To review the first part, I went over what I think a good film is, which is a movie with style and substance, with good writing. Also, we went over what objectivity and subjectivity is, so we are not confused throughout the rest of the video. If you want to know more or are confused, you can watch the first part of the video, or part 1. Now that we're caught up, we can talk about visuals in movies, the objective and subjective of the look of a film. I'm going to go over the objective part first, at least the best that I can. This is going to be tough to do, so bear with me. Well, first, how do you prove visuals objectively? Because with imagery of a film, or with any visual medium, they're trying to get a reaction out of the viewer. This is true, but I will give it my best shot that visuals do have an objective point to them. At first, the objective side of things just may seem to be the technical aspects. What kind of shot did they do? With what kind of lens? What are they trying to tell to the audience with these camera shots? These questions can be answered by viewing the film, if you know what kind of shot it is. However, like how I said before, the filmmakers are trying to get a reaction out of the audience. It reminds me of color theory, the process of getting a reaction by using certain colors. For example, red is the color of passion and rage, so in order to make people feel like someone is angry, you might make the background red. This also depends on what the filmmaker was going for and what audience you're trying to make it for, because colors don't mean the same thing everywhere around the world. For instance, in China, red is the color of joy, luck, and happiness, which is why they use it as the color for a wedding dress instead of the West, which uses the color white. Of course, just because a movie is from a culture doesn't mean other audiences won't enjoy it. Let's have a look into another country's lifestyle. The reason I brought up color theory and people's reactions is because it goes into, well, psychology. Covering the psychology of visuals and its relations to audience reactions will take a deep dive, so here we go. In order to put people in the movie theater seats, the movie needs to look good. Of course, good is a relation to what kind of movie it is. A horror movie will have a different look than a comedy. The more things look odd or weird, the more the human brain will be distracted. It's like when you notice a floor tile that is facing the wrong way, breaking the pattern. Or in a group of pictures and frames, one is crooked, making it more noticeable. You will probably focus on it every time you see these issues. This is why in trailers they will put in the best shots or visuals from the film. In other cases, it can be the only good scenes in the movie. This is why I don't really trust trailers fully. I remember the trailer for Immortals being so epic, but that movie was so dull. It showed all the slow motion action scenes in the trailer, so you saw everything.
Gods chose well.
On the other hand, the Joker teaser trailer made me feel like seeing it, and I wasn't disappointed one bit. So promotion material can be reflected of the original product. In order to put people in the seats in order to see a movie, you need to have neat visuals for the trailers. It makes people want to see the movie and reach the masses. The companies that make these movies need to make money for putting money into the movie. Stunning visuals without context and exciting music puts eyes on the trailer. This also includes posters in the movie theaters, which highlight upcoming movies and interviews on talk shows. This is all promotion, as I said. All of this is the phrase you have to spend money to make money. It's an investment after all. But let's focus on the psychology for now. Know that you're in the theater seat. The movie itself has to convince you that all the hype was worth it. Just by visuals alone, a film can more easily please, since effects are easier to make than ever. However, this does not mean visuals aren't important. Movie makers can do a lot with visuals, including telling a story, without dialogue. The example that comes to mind is the scene from Who Framed Roger. It shows the whole history of Eddie and his brother without saying a word and in a short amount of time. Each frame tells a story in their history, which began at night, but when it pans up, it's morning. Eddie has been asleep the entire time. You can even do this with dialogue, of course. Again, one that comes to mind is the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring. Galadriel, the narrator, tells the story of what happens before the current story begins. This makes sense because she is an elf who, in the universe, lives for thousands of years. Also, she seems to have the power to sense events and thoughts of others. Even though there is a narration, it's still done with mostly visuals. Her talking does not interrupt the atmosphere of the scenes. Speaking of atmosphere, that is also important to visual movie psychology. A part of visuals is setting an atmosphere for an audience, depending on what kind of movie it is, of course, or what the director was going for. For instance, a horror movie should not be comedic, and an action movie should not be a romantic comedy. Right? Like I said, it really does depend on what the director wants. Movies like Shaun of the Dead and Ghostbusters 1984 one mixed comedy and horror very successfully, being funny without sacrificing the horror element. A good action rom-com I think of right off the bat is True Lies. It used the tropes of a romantic comedy mixed in with high tense action scenes.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
What I'm trying to do is give examples of what the filmmaker is trying to do. But we are at an end for now, and I'm still not done with visuals. I will see you next time when we continue this topic. Take care. Oh, also, I'm going to be taking a break from doing all this good movie stuff for another project about a certain priest. Take care.